What's it like to be away from home on special occasions? I know of a family during the week where their dad died and some of the family members were unable to come home due to the pandemic. At other times it's other obstacles that are in the way. St. Patrick describes in his own words what it was like to be away from his homeland. This is what he says. I was taken into captivity in Ireland with many thousands of people. This is where I am now. I was an adolescent, almost a speechless boy, and I did not know the true God. At a little later date, he wrote, "We are witnesses that the good news has been preached in distant lands, in places beyond which nobody lives." Professor Kevin Whelan argues that you cannot understand Ireland without understanding the role of religion and the role of spirituality. He argues that Christianity in the earlier periods in Ireland was richer precisely because, as Pope Francis would say, the shepherds did smell of the sheep. Christianity flourished in Ireland when there was also a close relationship with the culture. The early Christians were remarkable for their confidence about the faith. They had no problems whatsoever in arguing with the Pope or with the existing system of intellectual power. They maintained a different date for Easter because they said that the lads in Rome weren't calculating it correctly. One of the popes wrote them a letter and said, "Who do you think you are? You're a pimple on the face of Christianity." Ireland's position at the edge of the world is central to this sense of confidence that the early Christians had. They felt that in the Bible it says, "Go and preach the Christian message to the ends of the earth." And they saw themselves as being at the end of the earth. They had a very sophisticated understanding of their own position and a very strong sense of confidence that what they were doing was not something peripheral but actually central to the Christian message. Professor Whelan argues that it is genuinely remarkable that the spread of Christianity in Ireland was not met with violence. A key part of the story, and it's a cliche, is that Ireland produced no martyrs. Usually when Christianity spread, it met intense opposition. It didn't in Ireland. And part of that was to do with the fact of Patrick, who was a slave and was really people trafficked into Ireland in his period. He understood the language and understood the culture to some respect, having been there as a teenager. He had a very strong sense of regard for the Irish people. He didn't come with the arrogance of, "I know everything and you know nothing." Patrick, from the get-go, understood that the way to make this happen was to negotiate rather than to be arrogant and dictatorial. The result was a rich hybrid fusion of Irish culture and Christianity. Patrick and the people that he trained were all very good at finding ways to explain the Christian message in ways that made sense for the local Irish people. The Christian message that Patrick and others brought resonated with existing views and attached itself to the local landscape in a way that gave it tremendous resilience. The decline of Christianity in Ireland is just one more in a very long series of changes, often very quick and as seen as revolutionary changes. Professor Whelan articulates the view that at the moment we're in the in-between period, but he believes that there will be another resurgence of Christianity in Ireland. It will be a different version of it, still delivering the same message, but it'll take on different forms. Professor Whelan can't see Catholicism disappearing. There have been too many moments of redefinition, but each time the church re-emerged in different forms and in different ways. When Catholicism became officially respectable from the late 18th century onwards, it did so in the context where the church was the only national institution that was sympathetic to the bulk of the Irish people. Problems set in with expectations that the church and the state would sing from the same hymn sheet, with church leaders expecting the people as a whole to simply be obedient. After independence, while apparently powerful, the church became a pious church rather than a spiritual church. And the church was aligned with anti-intellectualism, such that when the challenges came in the 1960s, it just declined with incredible rapidity. It was the decline and weakening of a particular model of church and Catholicism. And out of that will come something different. Because there's no cultures in the world yet which have found a way to be entirely secular. Because the questions that religions answers and the questions that spirituality addresses don't go away. St. Patrick's Day is an enchanted time. A day to begin transforming winter's dreams into summer's magic. We rejoice in St. Patrick, a man of faith, attentive to culture and to the stories of ordinary people's lives, a man who evangelized and shared his convictions peacefully and persuasively. Amen.